What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? Let's talk about this here. So we're at about $2.55 right now. 21 hours left in the new day. It's the 24th of February here, and we are looking, in my opinion, ever more grim, like we do want to slip here. Yesterday's video, I did talk about how XRP we had the risk of going down to about $2, give or take 10 cents, right? $2. Maybe $2.10, maybe $1.90, somewhere in this area around this white line here, right? And the reason why I think that's possible, the reason why I think we're going to go down there. Oh, this is the wrong chart to look at. Hold on, let's look at XRP. I mean, we can look at that chart too in a second, but let's use this chart. Yeah, looking at it on a daily time frame here. The reason why I think we're going to go down is that on this RSI, we have, at least to me, it looks like we've rejected this lower trend line, this lower high kind of trend. We're in this lower high, lower low trend, and looking like we're postured to go down to the oversold zone. Now, we did talk about going to the oversold zone on a daily aspect would likely mean that you see prices that are lower than these lows. If you go lower than these lows, from a low to a high, the expectation would be that you go down to about $2.13 to $1.97, something like that, and that's right around $2. Basically, both of these numbers here are right, or $2 to be right in between, splitting those numbers right there. So, looking at the daily RSI, that's what makes sense to me, being here at 255. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, also postured downward, right? We've got lower highs, lower highs. You do have some higher lows, to be completely fair as well. But overall, getting oversold, not getting overbought, living below the 50, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing right now. Let's look at the 1-hour time frame. Also getting rejected continuously by the 60, getting rejected time and time again, but you are getting down to the oversold zone. That's not, even if you're bouncing off of it, this is more bearish than it is bullish. And the reason why I think that, even though on a 1-hour time frame, even though this bearishness, it's just the 1 hour, it's not as significant as something like the 4-hour or the daily. The reason why it's significant to be bearish down here is that you're in this range right now based off of this move. If you're bearish in the RSI in comparison to this range, likely you're going to break out to the downside. But if you're breaking out to the downside here, right, breaking out to the downside here, you zoom out to the 4-hour time frame, that means you're breaking out of this upward sloping trend line right here. And if you break out of that upward sloping trend line, you're probably going to retrace this entire move from a low to a high, something that would at least take you down, at least at a bare minimum, to 235, if not potentially, again, something around $2. That's what would make the most sense to me. But it's completely possible here at 254. It's completely possible that you don't go all the way to $2, somewhere in this range, somewhere at the lower ends of this area, right, where you found support before, something that's below these lows. It's completely possible that you don't do that and that you find support somewhere higher. Be prepared for that, right? I'm not saying that you have to go all the way down here, but it's certainly looking like that right now. And it's just the most, to me, it's the most obvious look. I'm taking my biases out, right? I love crypto. I think crypto is about to shred to the upside, and XRP being one of the bigger cryptos in the game, it would make me think that if this thing goes down and sees a flash crash, some kind of move down like this, the rest of crypto too would likely have to do that, right? XRP is not going to just move down by itself, and then coins like Ethereum and Solana and then random no-name coins in the top 500 are moving up, right? Bitcoin moves up, everything moves up, and then XRP moves down. If that happens, man, we're going to have a different conversation. Something's wrong, right? XRP, it led the pack on this last move. It should be leading the pack on the next move. So my thoughts are, again, a move down like this could be a signal, or at least a look like this could be a signal. Maybe we do have a flash crash. It's completely possible just across the markets, right? If we're looking at this here from a high to a low, 1272 to the 100 level, very uncommon. It's very uncommon, but it's a very good look. The most common thing to do when hitting the 1272 is to pull back down to the 886, 786 area. Just because that's the most common thing to do does not mean that you have to go there, but that's at $1.58 to $1.30, right? I don't think that we go down that low, and I don't even think that we go down below this low, but something still that's in this area. We could go lower from here. We could go all the way down to $2 and still be in this area. It's fine, right? So I do think that whenever it comes time to breaking out of this, because again, this is an uncommon phase of consolidation. Normally you would go lower. It's a very bullish phase of consolidation. When it comes time to break out to the upside, I don't think you break out to the downside. Again, if you do that, we'll have a different conversation, guys. That's not going to be good. But when you do break out to the upside, I think that XRP is not going to stop until 641. Might find some turbulence there for a week or two and then continue onwards to that $10.71 to $13.31 price. I think that you will be here above 10 bucks, around 11 bucks or higher by the end of March, last week of March, if not early April, middle April, something like that. That's the kind of timing that we're expecting this to happen. But before all that happens, you could absolutely see a flash crash that takes a week to drop. I mean, maybe it takes a day to drop and then it takes a week to recover. You know, we definitely have enough time between now and then up at these prices here to do some crazy kind of stuff beforehand, right? If we look, I mean, I don't know. Let's see if we can find a good example of that here. I mean, here you had a pretty wicked flash crash, didn't you? I'm sure the whole rest of the markets did too. You did continue to grow afterwards. This took a lot longer to recover from than what I think would happen, but still, flash crash right there. You know, you're moving sideways week after week here. You had this very big low here, moving sideways for about 3 weeks there, and then on that fourth week you dropped down, found a slightly higher low. That's kind of what I'm expecting to happen here. Different phase of the markets, but you know, that was a bear cycle versus a bull cycle. But I'm just saying it can happen. It can definitely happen. Weekly RSI posture to the downside. This to me looks like you do want to go lower as well. You don't have to, but you look like you want to. I think if you were to go higher, you would have done it already, right? You would last week wouldn't have closed red. You would have kept moving up. We'll see. Maybe last week was a fluke. If this week can close green without going, I would say if this week by the end of February, or actually by the end of this week, it's going to be like the first or second day of March. In the next 6 days, 22 hours, if you can close this week green without going to the prices that we're talking about that are below like 230, down at around like $2 to $1.97, something like that. If we can avoid going down to that area and close this week green, likely we'll have to restart. We'll have to rethink our logic here on going lower, right? Likely at that point, I mean, if we were to flip this week green, I would assume then that we might be looking to break out of this downward sloping trend in the RSI and looking to break up. That would be a good look. But as of right now, everything seems to be pointing to the downside. If we look at XRP on the ribbon, I want to look at this and then I want to use some other indicators as well. You did go below the ribbon, and that's fine. Coming back above it should have given you a boost, right? Coming back above it, find some support, and then continue, but you didn't. You've been consolidating around here where you were looking to flip the ribbon bullish, you're not, and now you're actually looking to go below the ribbon. This, to me, makes me think that you are going to go lower. You're going to see a daily cross to the downside. If we look at the 3-day time frame, you've been living in the ribbon. Generally speaking, whenever you live in the ribbon like this, you do not continue going higher until you at least find a low that is below the ribbon. It doesn't mean you have to go below the ribbon, but likely you would see something that is below the ribbon, right? On a 3-day basis, it's a little bit less regarded because it is a 3-day time frame. But we have 2 days, 22 hours left in this. If we were to make this move down within the next 2 days, 22 hours over the next 3 days, going below this ribbon would call for a move that's at $1.97. As time goes on, if it's, you know, another 3 days, another 3 days from there, if it's like a week from now and we still haven't made our move down, but we're progressing down, but we haven't made our move all the way down there, this lower line would come up, and then again that'd be around like $2. Again, the idea here, it's not a requirement, but just generally speaking, whenever you hug the ribbon like this, you don't start expanding again, you don't start to see growth again until you find a low that's below the ribbon. Okay, finding a low right on the ribbon, to be fair, could be good enough. It really could be good enough, but I remain skeptical, because if it was good enough, why are you still hugging it here? Why is your daily struggling? Why does it look like it wants to flip? We keep going out. We look at the weekly. The weekly looks fine, looks phenomenal. In fact, coming back down and touching it right here, that'd be fine, wicking right off of it. And guess where that price is? That's at right at about $2.10 there, which is also why if this week can close green, if we go throughout this week, 6 days, 21 hours, if we close it green, this will actually come up. It will likely absolve us from going down to that $2 area, right? It'll come up. We'll have more support at that 230 area. If we can close this week green, we don't even need to close it green that much, but it also has a big effect on the weekly RSI as well. So again, this lower target area around $2 can be absolved by means of time, let alone price, right? I mean, if we move up, if we're up above $3, you guys, forget it. We're not going to $2. It's we're not going to go up to $3 and then come all the way back down. No, we're going. If we go to $3, we're going all the way up to $11, $13, something like that, right? Inevitably, and higher by the end of the cycle. But if this week closes red here, it might not be this week that we touch it. It might not be next week, but that means that inevitably we are on a path, I think, that goes lower until we see something that suggests otherwise. I want to look at these indicators here, and then we can finish the video. Okay, so I've got a bit of a slew of indicators here. We've already looked at the RSI. Maybe we can delete that so it's less of a headache. We look at the daily time frame. We've got the MACD here. Okay, the MACD is postured. The histogram here has lower lows and lower highs as well. You are coming up to the 0 line where you normally would find resistance, and it looks as though the MACD is looking to get this bearish cross here. So that's likely going to trigger some bearish momentum to the downside. We're going to, anytime that we've done this, it does generally come in the form of a consolidation phase and move down. Right, the last time that we triggered it here, that was right before we saw this drop here. I'm not saying that we have to drop, but again, if you look at the price right before we flipped red here, if you look at the price action here, we're just kind of moving sideways like this, and then we flip red, and then we drop down. Okay, right here, right before it flips red, right there, we're kind of moving sideways, it flips red, and then we drop down. Okay. Here, right before it flips red, we're moving sideways, and then we drop down. Maybe not down that low. I mean, if it goes that low, that's fine, but I mean, maybe it wouldn't be fine. We'll talk about it if it happens, but I don't think that you go below this low. But the daily RSI or daily MACD certainly looks like it's about to flip the histogram red and see some bearish momentum building. If we look at the stochastic as well, right here, the stochastic coming from the overbought zone, generally you do oscillate between the oversold and the overbought. It's not so much like the regular RSI, right? This is the stochastics. You can do the stochastic RSI as well. I like the stochastic. Stochastic RSI is fine too. If you find it works. Some people the stochastics people make fun of the stochastic RSI people. The stochastic RSI people think they're better than the stochastic people. I say you're both fine. You're both doing good. As long as it makes sense to you, whatever, right? I use the stochastics. I think the stochastic RSI can be useful. I think it's actually useful for Bitcoin, especially on a weekly time frame, even on a daily time frame, 3-day time frame. But I like the stochastics more. It makes more sense to me. And just looking at the way you're postured right now, you've got the bearish cross, you've got the blue line below the orange line. You just came from the overbought zone. Undeniably, you're going to go down, and you're on a daily time frame. So at least closing this week green does not look like a likely outcome to be. So going down, looking at the weekly time frame, also looking like a cross down. With the weekly, you don't have to go all the way to the oversold zone, right? Just like here, you came up, you didn't go to the overbought zone, you got to the oversold, you didn't come to the overbought, you got oversold. You don't have to, but likely something around the 50 is what you're pointed at going. And to see this thing drop that low, I would think that would require a move down to about $2. I'm just saying. That's just kind of my personal thoughts. We keep going. We look at the money flow here. Money flow is in a downtrend. Okay, we've got lower highs here, lower highs, lower lows, stuff like that. Money flow, kind of treat it like the RSI, but not necessarily. But kind of. You can treat it similar to the RSI, right? It works really well, I think, with the RSI and the MACD. But generally speaking, when the money flow is trending upwards, right, that can be a good premonition for the price to go up. If you're trending downwards, that can be a sign that you might see some kind of corrective phase, something like that, right? You want to be overbought, you don't want to be oversold, right? Similar to the RSI, it's good being in the overbought, it's good being above the 50. It's a little bit different, but if you treat it similar to the RSI, it's just like another like-minded thing. I like the RSI more. I think it's more conclusive. The money flow can mislead at times, but overall, if we look at the 3-day time frame here, actually looks like you're pretty good. Looks like you're not going to go too much lower, right? You've got these higher lows coming in. You could go a little bit lower, but I think you're pretty good there. Looking at the weekly time frame, yeah, a little bit lower would make sense, but you're coming into areas that you found resistance at before. You could find support here pretty soon. From a time perspective, I think you're very near your low. Just from a price perspective, it looks like you want to go down. Oh, and then the weekly MACD as well looks like it's about to get a fresh cross to the downside. What we do have here is one green histogram reading there, another one right there that's lower highs in the histogram while having higher highs in the price. That is bearish divergence. To be completely fair, this move down, I think, takes care of that bearish divergence. You don't have to go lower, but you do look like you're about to see a red week. You actually have the red cross now, so that can at least promote another week or two of just kind of moving sideways and figuring things out, moving down. But going over all these indicators, man, I'm getting a headache. This is normally why I just keep it to the RSI. But XRP here, USD, not on Coinbase. I don't want Coinbase. I want Binance here, because Coinbase doesn't have enough history. We'll never. It's blasphemous to do XRP on Coinbase, I think. Not to buy it or invest it. You got to use your means, but I mean just to chart on Coinbase. To me, it's a bit odd. Not odd. This generally does happen in strong movements, right? Oftentimes, from a low to a high, you will pull back at least to your 382. Oops, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean to draw it going lower. 382, something like that. But whenever in the case of very extremely bullish moves, you do hold the 236, right? So this overall, as negative as the tone might be on XRP in this video, it's just saying, I'm not saying it to be negative. I'm saying it to prepare people, right? I'm saying it so that if it happens, and also as a kind of an indication that maybe across the space we could see a wicked flash crash coming, but more to prepare us, right? Not to scare us, because lower prices are just buying opportunities. It's not going to see a lower low. I think it's going to find support, and then again, finding support at the 236, while it is uncommon, it's actually a sign of immense strength, okay? And that's exactly what you need. You need to show immense strength if you're going to make the move that I think you're going to make, which by the end of March, by the end of April, all the negative stuff aside, is going to be something above 10 bucks. And you're at 250 now, likely going to go down to about $2 over the coming week, if not the next 2 weeks. That's my thoughts. And then that leaves the door wide open for the rest of March, and then going into the midpoint of April to see some pretty phenomenal explosive movements taking place. So I think XRP has a ways to go before it's done. It's not done here, but at the moment, I'm a little bit skeptical as if we break out to the upside. If we do break out to the upside, that would be great. In fact, moving up, a healthy XRP is good for the ecosystem, right? It's good for crypto. But if XRP looks like it wants to move down, just again, that could be bad news for the XRP army momentarily, but it's probably going to be worse news, I think, for the rest of crypto, because if XRP drops that much, I can't imagine what the rest of the space is going to do. But time will tell. We don't, just because I have arrows and I'm drawing lines and we have things that make sense of this area doesn't mean we have to go there, guys. There's plenty of areas just above it as well. If we take a low here to a high there, we could find support at $2.40. We could find support at $2.30. That's fine. But to me, it just seems, taking my own bias out of the way, if I was applying my bias, I would think we find support at 240 to 230. But taking the bias out of the way, looking at this as if I know nothing about it, it's just the chart, I'm being honest with myself, I think you want to go to about at least 215, if not something around or just below $2. And it's likely going to happen very soon. I think it's going to happen starting today. It'll be more noticeable, but I think throughout this week, and then going into the beginning of March, even the very first week of March. But then after the first week, after the first couple of days, we'll start to recover. End of March, phenomenal. Beginning of April, phenomenal. I think I've said everything I need to say. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I hope I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, actually, if anybody's wondering, or if anybody's talking smack and they're saying, oh, this guy's wrong, prove me wrong. I would love to be proved wrong. I don't want to see XRP moving down. Again, XRP moving down means likely my bags are going to get hit too. I don't hold the XRP, but I hold plenty of other cryptos. And if XRP goes down, those other cryptos with lower market caps probably get hurt worse than XRP, right? If I'm wrong, get above that high. Just get above this. That's all you got to do. Get above that high. Get above $2.84. $2.83.3. Get above there. You don't even have to close above there. Just get above there. I'll change my mind. I'll even be a little bit excited if we close a day above 266. Not get above $2.66.3, but get above it on a closing basis. Close above the golden ratio, which is at $2.66.3. Okay, $2.66.3. Yeah, 3-1. If you can get above there on a daily closing basis, I'm not convinced that we're absolved of going lower, but that would be optimistic. And then, of course, getting above this high at all, just getting above that high right there, that would convince me that I'm wrong. So prove me wrong, get above that high. I would love to see it happen. And that's not a sarcastic, I would love to see it happen. That's not a challenge like, bring it on, bro. I'd love to see you try. No, I genuinely would love to be invalidated. I would sleep like a baby. But as of right now, I don't think I will. So time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.